The Govind Pashu Vihar National Park in the Indian Himalayas spans a massive elevation gradient, climbing from subtropical river valleys to hostile glaciated peaks. Living at this altitude means enduring intense ultraviolet radiation, freezing winds, and heavy snowpack. To survive, these alpine plants synthesize complex chemical defenses, known as secondary metabolites, which act as internal antifreeze and biological sunblock. When humans extract and consume these specific defensive chemicals, they translate into potent pharmacological agents capable of treating a wide range of physiological ailments. The intensity of the high-altitude climate compels these plants to condense their chemical potency, forging a concentrated pharmacy out of sheer environmental stress. For generations, indigenous healers known as Vaidyas have used this specific alpine flora as the foundation for up to 80% of local healthcare, but this localized practice is colliding with surging global demand. Poachers are indiscriminately extracting the roots and rhizomes of these plants to feed international markets. Harvesting the root of a slow-growing alpine perennial instantly terminates its life cycle. It stops the plant from ever reaching reproductive maturity and decimates the wild breeding population. At the same time, the ancient ethnobotanical knowledge required to safely identify and use these plants is disappearing just as fast. Looking at the Knowledge Richness Index, the generational gap is clear. While elders retain a vast understanding of the flora, the youth cohort shows a severe depletion in traditional botanical knowledge. As younger generations migrate to urban centers for work, and road expansions connect isolated villages to modern medicine, the oral transmission of this science is being cut off. If these plants are mined to extinction and the youth lose the context of how to use them, centuries of irreplaceable biological genetics and indigenous cultural capital will vanish. To counter this decline, state forestry departments and researchers have established protected medicinal plant conservation areas and high-altitude nurseries to breed endangered species. Through field trials, conservationists discovered a geographical requirement for survival. Transplanting seedlings onto the upper one-third of alpine hill slopes yields the highest regeneration rates. Topography drives this success. First, gravity drains moisture through the upper slope, protecting roots from lower elevation rot. Second, upper slopes provide sustained sunlight for photosynthesis, avoiding deep valley shadows. Finally, this elevated position keeps seedlings above lethal frost, which settles into the depressions below. By leveraging these precise microclimates, conservationists have created a reliable method to pull critically endangered taxa back from the brink. Rebuilding wild populations is only part of the solution. State master trainers now integrate medicinal plant cultivation directly into local schools and active agroforestry systems. By securing guaranteed corporate buyback contracts for certified farm-grown plants, the state creates a financial incentive. Traditional knowledge becomes a profitable, sustainable career path for the youth. Yet illicit wildcrafting continues. Poachers crush stolen roots into unidentifiable powders to bypass customs. To eliminate this blind spot, researchers are deploying a molecular defense network using DNA barcoding. Using this advanced technology, scientists can isolate genomic markers directly from a confiscated powder, definitively proving its true biological origin. This molecular forensic approach allows regulatory agencies to trace the illicit supply chain and prosecute smugglers, even after the physical characteristics of the plant have been destroyed. Simply drawing administrative borders across a rugged landscape is no longer enough to protect high-value flora. Effective protection requires a tightly integrated system: biological slope planting, community-driven agroforestry, and molecular auditing. This approach shifts conservation from a regulatory burden into a technology-backed agricultural economy. The Govind landscape demonstrates a fundamental reality. To protect a critical biological ecosystem, we must support its indigenous people while deploying the full weight of forensic science.